So let's see what we have here. Proper English. So a regression was run to determine if there is a relationship between hours of study per week, X, and the final scores, Y. I like to know what my variables represent. X is hours of study, and Y is final exam scores. Now, I would expect, just based on my knowledge of studying, that the more hours that I study, the higher my final exam score should be. Which is perfect timing for this kind of question. Now, let me see if that's accurate. So they gave us the results of the regression. We don't even have to, we don't even have to do anything. They gave it to me. So if I want to look at, I'm going to look at R first. Okay, R is positive 0.77. So what does that mean to you? Being that R is positive, tell me what that means just by itself. Whatever you want to tell me. Being that R is positive, what does it mean? Upward slope, okay, which means like this. The line's going up like that. So if I were graphing it on an X and Y axis, as X goes up, as X increases, Y is also increasing, correct? Because it's going up. As this is going up, this is going up. She said upward slope, which means my slope would be positive, which means my linear correlation coefficient would be positive, which it is. Being that it is 0.77, which is kind of close to positive 1, I would say could be potentially strong. Linear correlation, we don't have the graph, but anyway. So as X increases, Y increases, which would mean the more hours of study that I do per week, because as X is going up, the higher those hours of study are, the higher this final exam score is. So just based on my intuition, the mathematics, the values are following what I would expect. So let's see. Now, being that I have a linear situation, they gave me my situation. You see y equals ax plus b. I'm going to write that here. This is kind of slope-intercept form. They gave me a, so I'm just going to replace a with that 5.874x plus the b here they gave me here, 36.78. So without writing out my equation, they did give it to me, just a little separate, which is good because that's how you get it when you do your graphing calculator stuff. That's how you get it. So let's see what we want to do. Use this to predict. Prediction. Use the equation. That's what predict means. Use your equation. Predict the final exam score, which is y, final exam scores, of a student who studies 6.5 hours per week. They gave us x. And please round your answer to a whole number. So, in other words, they're saying, not as, when x is given to be 6.5 hours, what is y? Right? In mathematical words, that's what they're saying. So how do I do that? Well, if I know x, I could replace it here and find y. So plug and chug. Anytime you're asked to predict something, just plug it in and then figure out, you know, whatever you need. 5.874x, x is 6.5, replace x with 6.5 plus 36.78. Let's predict the approximate score. And where's my calculator? And this again is an approximation, and it's going to be limited because obviously the score only goes to up to 100. Let's see, 5.874 times 6.5 plus 36.78. 74.964. 74.961. Now they tell me to round to a whole number. So I'm going to go to the closest, approximately 75. Now if I want my score to be higher, then I might want to increase my study hours. Just for the heck of it, let's assume, I'm going to add to this, let's just play around here. Let's say I want a 90. How many hours should I study? Again, this is not necessarily for our particular course, right? This is a random, but you know, let them playing with it. I want a 90 on my final exam. How many hours should I study? So if I want 90 on the final, that means y is 90. How many hours? I want to know x because that represents hours, and I want to know how many. I'm predicting, right? So let me write my equation to use that they gave me. And I want to predict, you know, how many hours when y is 90. So plug in 90 for y. Now, they don't ask me this. I'm just playing with it just to see how I could potentially be asked for something else. And then now I have to solve for x, which is not so bad because mathematically, we have to get rid of this first. And you guys are not doing any crazy algebra, so you could follow this process every time if you're trying to find x, because it's going to be the same movement algebraically. You got to subtract that value, or if this is being subtracted, you have to add it, but you know, inverse operation to get rid of it. And then 90 minus 36. Did you guys find it yet? 36.78. 53.22. And then divide by the coefficient of x so that you can isolate x. 5.874. And I get my x is whatever the heck that is, divided by 5.874. And this is a relative thing too. Oops. What did I do? Oh, oops. 53.22 divided by 5.874. Okay, approximately 9 hours. 9.06. Now this is not from the actual homework. I just added it, but you know, just for the heck of it, because it's a great example. All right, let me stop recording. Let me know.